Well, that remains to be seen, right? It really depends on how everything is regulated and implemented and enforced. The obvious benefit for smaller businesses is tax relief. You would no longer pay 280 taxes, so you would be able to deduct normal expenses like any other business. And bigger operators already find sneaky ways to avoid paying those taxes. Now, on the other hand, you have like the FDA and the DEA and how they will enforce some of this. Will it treat dispensaries like pharmacies? Will they favor bigger players? We kind of know how America works, but the results still unclear at this point. From my view and my understanding, state legal programs would remain intact and unchanged, at least at first. What rescheduling does is changes the federal status of the plant, but it does not affect directly state frameworks. Now, it is still illegal on the federal level, right? Even in Schedule 3, the plant is still illegal in the federal level, so it does not clean up the mess that we have between state laws and federal laws, but it also does not immediately and automatically undo all the progress done on the state level. That's an interesting question, and again, it depends, but not how you imagine it for sure, right? Under Schedule 3, the plant is still illegal. It's still a controlled substance. And that means it will still be dispensed through dispensaries. And if you ever see it at Walmart, it would probably be at a Walmart pharmacy as an FDA approved formulation. You won't see it on shelves, at least for now. You won't see, plant derived drinks and edibles and gummies unless they're derived from hemp. And that is a separate discussion tied to the recent, ending of the government shutdown and the now looming hemp ban expected for 2026. Yes, free the weed is right. That is what we need. Again, remember, rescheduling is not descheduling. It is still a controlled substance. It is not legalization. It does not fix most of our problems. It does not fix, especially criminal justice issues. It does not provide expungements. It does not free nonviolent prisoners. It doesn't do much. It does something, but it still treats the plant as a controlled substance. And that means a lot of federal oversight. So free? Nah. Legalization is a really good one. And even though it's not directly tied to rescheduling, it's an important one. Of course, legalization does expand the rights of the plant and patients, but it can also hand it over to big corporate interests, right? If it's not regulated correctly. And by that, I mean, we need some protections for small farmers. Otherwise, we know how America works. If we let the market run free, big corporations with a lot of capital, the best lawyers, they can bring costs down. They can choke out most small farmers and, of course, control the market, right? Now, that might be good for patients. I don't think so. But, lower costs for medicine is good. On the other hand, we would probably be sacrificing quality and diversity. I still see a future where there are still small farmers, craft farmers who stay alive. But if it's not regulated correctly, the industry could end in the hands of just a very few big players. That is not entirely correct. Trump can instruct the DEA or the DOJ to reschedule the plant. The Congress is only needed for descheduling or full legalization, but rescheduling can be done without the Congress, and it's all explained in an article. That's a good question, and I make the answer very brief. Nothing changes, really, right? Employers can still test, the government can still test, they will still look at certain metabolites. So, unless lawmakers pass a separate bill, banning testing of certain cannabinoids, for instance, nothing changes, at least not automatically. Although, some people might be less inclined, some employers might be less inclined to testing if the schedule changes. But again, remember, rescheduling is not legalization.